What's up, Culture Drop? I am Galen. This video is about a team conversation guide of how you navigate the next normal together. So it's a resource of critical conversations to have as a team to determine how do you work together now. Okay, hi everyone. It is always important for teams to be having conversations to determine the ground rules. How do we work together? How do we have meetings, etc. So I've got a resource for you because right now, obviously there's a lot of sort of like new next normal for us in terms of we've got hybrid teams and just like things have changed over the last year and a half. So this is a resource. I'm gonna make the resource available to you on my blog or like wherever you're seeing this video. We'll make sure there's a link so you can go and download the resource. But this is just a prompt. I've got a ton of just prompts of questions for you to come together as a team and answer these questions together and determine some things for you about how you work together in the future. So I'm gonna share a handful of them now. I'll make the rest of them available so I'm not just going through the entire list on the video. Side note before the first one, some of these might be really obvious in conversations that you're already having. Some of these might be conversations you've never had together as a team. So hopefully there's a mix of both. I think all of these conversations are relevant. So here we go. Number one, in-person, remote, hybrid, what does that mean? So what does that mean for us? What does it mean to be remote work or in person? How often are we in person? Is it a certain amount of days per week? Is it weeks per month? Is it months per year? Do we have certain days that are required for everyone to be there and then a couple days a week that are flex days where you come in if you want or not? Also thinking about start times. Do start and finish times in like the regular workday, are they flexible? Are they rigid? Can people start at different times? What does that look like for us going forward? Number two, obviously incredibly important, communication. What does communication look like for us now? What are the channels that we use? How do we add clarity and transparency to the communication that we have between people? How often do we communicate? And what are we communicating about? Along with that, are there any new ground rules that we have to establish, or is there new technology that we can use or utilize to streamline and make sure communication is like really straightforward, as well as project management? So like team flow and project flow is like, is there new technology, new channels, new ground rules that we have to establish for how we communicate and do projects together? Number three, connection, networking, social interaction. Are we making time? How are we prioritizing and creating opportunities for like water cooler chats and like hallway conversations? Now, especially if we have a lot of remote teams, it's harder for people to network or connect and sort of be social with people inside the company and other departments, right? We don't want to lead to this us versus them, or we only interact with this small group of people because it can, that can help create silos and that kind of stuff. So how are we making time for that? How are we prioritizing that? How are we creating opportunities for people to connect, network inside the company, be social, interact, right? There's a huge benefit to like working for a company is that like you have other human beings to interact with and be social outside of just doing work. Number four, meetings. How are we holding meetings and running meetings where we have potentially some people in person and some people virtual? It should be more intentional than just, oh, well, these people will call in on their laptop. Think about how are we including the voices of and making sure that we're being intentional about like what the ground rules of those meetings are and how we include people that are virtual. Really important. Also, does some meetings have to be in person? Do some meetings have to be virtual? Think about the ground rules of meetings, potentially hybrid meetings, how often you're having them, when are they, etc. Really important. Number five, the last one I'll do here, the rest of them I'll leave on the resource, but of course I am a champion of this, feedback. How often are we giving feedback? Who's giving feedback to who and about what? Are we using regular check-ins and feedback and maintenance conversations to evaluate as a team and as individuals working together with each other? What's working, what's not working, what needs to be improved, etc. Anytime as a team, organization, or in a relationship, anything that you're navigating new territory, feedback is critical. It's imperative that we set up and establish some timelines for that to answer questions about feedback, because that's the one way that we can continually improve, continually monitor and evaluate how are things going, do we need to change anything, right? Feedback is really important, and don't do passive feedback where it's like, well, if something comes up, let us know, let's talk about it. Schedule specific meetings once every other month or whatever to check in as a team and say what's working, what's not working, what do people need, right? Feedback, really, really important, but determine very intentionally, what do we give feedback about? Who's giving feedback to who? And like, what is the feedback around and about? Cool, that's it. So those are 5 ideas. Like I said, the rest of them I'm gonna have on the resource. I'll make it available to download. So good. I think this is important always to like be having these kinds of conversations in teams to understand how do we work together? What are some of the ground rules of working together that make communication easier, that just make workflow and just like the dynamics of being human beings together working on a team and an organization easier. Okay, cool. That's it. I hope that you love the resource. Go be awesome. Thanks for watching and tuning in. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have our weekly email list, The Culture Drop. You can subscribe to that and get these emails right in your inbox. Follow our social media channels. Put out a lot of free content around being more awesome and building great teams.